This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
This is the thickness, Reid Matthews, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with the bodyguard connoisseur, the thickness, Reid Matthews.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. How's it going, James?
I'm doing good. How is the thickness doing today?
I'm doing great. The sun's shining. It's a good day. It's a good day for wrestling, I'll tell you that much.
Hell yeah. And where can people get down with the thickness next event-wise?
Next event-wise, we're looking at Destiny Wrestling on the 18th and 19th in Oshawa and St. Catharines, and then LPW and CWS at the end of the month on May 30th and 31st in Edmonton, Alberta.
All right, and where can we find you on social media and your merchandise?
Oh, social media. So we got the Thickness 7 on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We got the Thickness 7 on, or the Thickness Reid Matthews on Pro Wrestling Tees. You also have Thick Gaming 7, my streaming, also on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. You can also catch the Short Kings podcast as well on Spotify and on YouTube as well at the Short Kings.
And you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to all his social media and channels will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox. Alright, let's get into it. You work for Love Pro Wrestling. Can you tell us about your relationship with the company and Spencer Love?
I love, and pun intended, I love wrestling. They started up before I came back from COVID, and they asked me to come on to be Bobby Sharp's return match after his surgery he had on his Achilles, I believe it was. Or no, actually it was his hip. It was one of those surgeries he had. And since then we just have great working relationship with them. Spencer Love, enjoy working with him. You know, good. We're friends as well. We talk about nerdy stuff on the side. But yeah, I've loved everything about LPW. LPW really has like filled the hole that PWA had left since they haven't been back since before COVID. So right. It's been really nice to be back.
And you mentioned that your first match with them was with Bobby Sharp. Obviously, yep. A well-respected Canadian name. So to be your first match, him to be your first match in, a company that just kind of started up, what did that kind of mean to you?
It actually meant a lot because I know before COVID, Bobby and I had a few matches I was very happy with and very proud of, and we really like wrestling each other. So when I learned that he wanted to wrestle me coming back, I felt very honored. Very honored that Bobby out of everyone chose me, and then Love Wrestling. Wanted to follow through with that as well. So it just, I think at the time when I didn't know about it, I was like, oh man, I wonder who he's wrestling. Because at that point, I did 2 shows at this point. I'm slowly coming back, and then they reached out to me, and I was shocked, but I was super excited at the same time.
Well, let's go to your most recent Love Pro match against Allen Angels, obviously AEW alumni. What was that experience like?
That honestly, it was a whirlwind of emotions because it was my first ever name wrestling. So like I've been in the business 9 years now. It's my first name, and so I was super nervous about it. And I was like, I was reaching out to Michael Richard Blaze about like, what are some things I should do? Like how do I approach things differently? Because it's a name, and he gave me some great advice. And then working with Alan Angels was so easy. That man, I can't say enough nice things about that man. He was super nice, super easy, super down to earth. We had a blast. We chatted a lot after too. He hung out and had food with everyone. And it just overall was a great experience. I remember like warming up before the match, like my wife and a couple of the boys in the back would come and like give me hugs and be like, "Oh, you deserve this." And I had to push them away, but like, "Stop it! You're gonna make me cry before I go out in the ring." So rude. I had to like actually push them away. I'm like, "No, don't do this right now. We can do this after. Can't do it right before my music's gonna hit."
I did notice that you broke out the Akatsuki ring gear for the Allen Angels match, no?
Yes, I brought out the Itachi themed gear. I've always wanted to do themed gear. When I just used to wear the biker trunks, and then when I came back and I started wearing the jeans, I was like, oh man, like I love the jean look, but like kind of hard to get custom jeans. So I reached out to Super Taunt here in Calgary, and she hooked me up with the first set of gear, which was the Dragon Ball Z themed cell. And I was like, I want to do another themed gear. I want to have it for this big match I'm having with Allen Angels, and I decided on the Akatsuki one because I wanted to do a red and black, red and black one.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. That was LPW 23, correct?
24.
24. Okay. Well, on LPW 23, you were actually featured on the poster, Slam Boat Willie. It's one thing to be on, a graphic for, a wrestling event, but to be the actual poster, what was that kind of? How did you kind of view that?
So the graphics guy, I don't know if his name's public or not. I don't know if I was actually no, I think his name's public. Zach. He reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, can you just take a quick picture for me?" And so I'm like, "Oh man, I have no clue where this is going." So I went and took a picture, and he's like, "Try these little adjustments." Made those adjustments, sent them over to him, and then he sent me over the thing, and I'm like, that's what's happening. That's pretty cool. I think to be like the centerpiece of the poster was really cool. I will say though, my favorite poster that I have been on was the community themed one, which I want to say was 13 or 14. It's like 13, 14, or 15. I don't remember the exact number, but that was my favorite one because I'm a big community fan. So it was cool to see me on that one.
All right. Now, keeping up on your love pro wrestling, can you tell us about your relationship with Zoe Sager?
I am Zoe Sager's bodyguard, or bodyguard connoisseur, as you spoke earlier. Zoe Sager and I came to this agreement. God, was that last year? That was just last year, or just over a year ago, actually. That we were both kind of we were frustrated with how things were going, right? Like she was on this losing streak that she just couldn't seem to shake, and I was frustrated with how management was handling me, and I was like, well, like if you don't want me to be there, I'll show up myself and do what I want. And we created this really great business between each other of, well, guess what, we're gonna watch out for each other's backs. We're gonna get the job done because we both know we can do what it is we set out to do. She wanted to be champion. We got that. I wanted to be this monster, and I became that. And that's only through the efforts of each other, supporting each other and believing in each other when everyone else kind of was like on their own thing. We decided to stick together and hash it out, and we got it done.
Would you say it's more leaning towards a professional agreement, or is there some friendship there?
I would say more professional. just more so professional. I would say Zoe and I are friends, but we are very good at keeping business, and that's what we do every time we're at LPW is keep things business.
Well, obviously, you're her bodyguard. Nobody is going to get to Zoe as long as the thickness is in the way. That being said, have you ever beaten Zoe at Uno?
Have I ever beaten Zoe at Uno? No, I'm pretty sure I lost at Uno. When was that? I was at the Dome. How do you know that? How do you know about the time we played Uno? That's crazy. Oh my god, we played Uno when we wrestled at the Rogers place, and I lost. I want to say my wife won one round. She won one round, and I think Zoe won the next one. But I'm gonna blame Bear Akarani because Bear Akarani kept changing the rules, and that's why I lost.
Just when you got the answers, he changes the questions.
Yeah, exactly. Fits his narrative. What a guy.
Well, you mentioned it. The Rogers place for Royal Rumble. You were the first match, and obviously, a big arena.
Yep.
What was that experience like for you?
So I've been fortunate enough to not only wrestle at Rogers Place, but I've also wrestled at the Saddle Dome as well. I wrestled the Saddle Dome twice for PWA. So like the first time doing the Saddle Dome, I was like super nervous. It was a really cool experience. Second time around, I was just super excited to do it again. And this time around, it was kind of similar. Like it was a bigger crowd, of course. I believe it was closer to 8,000 people, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah.
But like the spectacle that we had there, and like how close we worked with the Oil Kings and stuff like that, like it was a great experience. Like we had this like fancy locker room, and they showed us where everything is, and we had access to go anywhere we wanted, and they set us up in this really cool spot to wrestle in between like the periods and before the game. So to be able to go out there and be the first match and kind of set the pace and set the tone for everything was super cool, and was super happy to have that opportunity. And I had two really good opponents. I got to give them credit, T.Y. Jackson and Jared Rogers. They put it all out there, but like at the end of the day, like they just weren't down with the thickness.
No, something like that. Is that a moment you take in the moment, or is that something that kind of sets in afterwards? Like, wow, I did that.
It's a little bit of both, I would say. Like I feel like because it was a big moment, kind of similar to like the Allen Angels ones, where like beforehand I'm thinking about it a lot and like what I'm gonna do and what I want to try and achieve, and then during the moment I'm so focused, my brain's just like on business, get business done, and then as soon as we're done, as soon as we're past that curtain, that's when it really sinks in. It's like, wow, that was such a cool experience, like once in a lifetime. Like this is things that'll always be on my wrestling resume that a lot of other people won't have, and I'll always be forever grateful for that. And then that's when I really get to like sit there and be in the moment and the feels and really get to be in that atmosphere.
Now you mentioned your opponents in that match, Jared Rogers and obviously T.Y. Jackson. You are not T.Y. Jackson's favorite person, to say the least, no?
No, I wouldn't say he's mine either.
I mean, there was that one time you drew a bowling ball where bowling balls should maybe not be, right?
Bowling ball? Sorry?
I maybe got the match.
I think I got the match mixed up because that was with Michael Allen, Richard Clark, I believe. Him and I wrestled for a chance at Zoe's title. I remember that.
And you made his life very difficult for the match with Zoe as well.
Yes, I did, and I will continue to always do that. Just for my good old friend T.Y. Jackson.
And keeping up with T.Y. Jackson and the Radz, they kidnapped you once, no?
They unfortunately did, yes. They did kidnap me, thinking I was Marz, even though we've tried to explain it, that I am not Marz. I am the thickest Reid Matthews. I feel like it's very obvious. Clearly, I'm the only one who thinks it's obvious. They did get their just desserts, though, because they did have to go through court, and I was the prosecutor, and they did not like their sentencing.
No, they did not. So the thickness always gets one up on the Radz, no?
Yep. No matter what the Radz do, the thickness will always be on top.
Now, you mentioned it a moment ago, Battle at the Dome, which is, another big event in our stadium. What was that experience like compared to like the Rogers Stadium? Because you're actually on the ice on that, so no?
Yeah, that was interesting. We had the ring on the ice both times. I'm still currently the PWA Mayhem champion, so both my matches at the Dome were Mayhem. I was in a Battle Royal, I believe, in the first one. I don't remember how many people were in it. That was really cool because at that point I got to work with a lot of different guys I never had the chance to work with before. Guys like Jack Pride, and I got to work with Bayer Karani some more. But even guys like Big Bad Boris, and I got back in the ring with Mephisto again. But then the second time when I got to do the tables match with Sheik Akbar Shabazz, that one it was a little more elevated because like the first show we went there, we did the first show. It was a lot of fun. It was exciting. We got to explore the place and see some cool things and whatnot. The second time we went there, we actually got to go to some hockey games and do some promos, which were a lot of fun. We were treated like movie stars on that one, which was super cool. We were like snuck in the back and everything. Had our own booth. And then the matches were a lot of fun. Like the crowd energy in those places was just so crazy. It's almost hard to like emulate anywhere else. And then it just feels like every single Dome show just keeps stepping up the next one after that. Because then just being in front of the bigger crowd, and we were literally on this like 4 or 5 foot high stage, so that everyone can see, and the crowd also behind it as well. It just, it's crazy. You'd think after like the second one, I'm like, okay, they're all going to be the same. But every time it's just something different, and it's something so cool, and it will always be something very unique for me.
Well, mentioning, the ice, being on the ice, you actually slid across the ice, no?
Yes, I slid across the ice into the boards, I believe, with Sheik Akbar Shabazz, and then I also clotheslined him on the ice. I also dove on him onto the ice. That was a lot of time we spent outside of the ring in that match, actually, now that I think about it.
That being said, I mean, obviously, concrete is concrete, and mats are mats. What is it kind of like being slammed on ice? And
I mean, when you're slamming people on ice, it's great. Being slammed on ice, on the other hand, not so nice. I think it really takes you by surprise for a second. Because we're so used to being in the ring, and we fall in the ring, and we get slammed in the ring. So then when you meet a different surface, it really takes you by surprise. Sometimes you like take the wind out of you. With the ice, definitely the first thing is like, oh my god, this is so cold. I need to get off the ice. Oh god, it's so cold.
Well, can you tell us about your tag team partner in the Short Kings, Marz the Specialist?
Marz the Specialist, the red version of me.
Yes.
Funnily enough, we met at the second battle in the Dome. He was involved in an elimination tag match. Said very little words to each other. Then went on later on to have a rivalry all summer long at RCW, which led to his 3 stages of hell match. After that, he won. After that point, we had a lot of respect for each other. And then it was at that point where, we started to travel more often together to do like LPW shows and stuff like that and go to training. We found out we went to the same gym, so we'd see each other and talk all the time. We found out we have a lot of similar interests. And it really just like flourished into this beautiful friendship that we have now. And to the point where, you know, they were like, hey, we want to have you do this match. We started doing videos for it. Now we post videos about it. We film a podcast. Like, it's if you would have probably asked us from day one if we saw that between us, we probably would have said, no, you're crazy. Now it's just like, oh, that's not surprising when it comes to us.
What's a pet peeve about Marz that you just don't understand?
Pet peeve about Marz. I mean, that he trusts Jack Pride, first of all. Like, I could have told him a while back he shouldn't trust him. Back when I know Jack Pride kept trying to steal my title in PWA. But you saw, like, he's just a little too trusting sometimes, I guess. That'd be my pet peeve about him.
Fair enough. Now, you know, it wasn't maybe love at first sight on your part, because he did maybe follow you to Walmart?
He followed me a lot and stalked me, essentially. If it wasn't for the fact that he paid me a very handsome amount of money, we would have never tagged. But you know, it's kind of like that annoying little brother, right? Like, it's just it came to a point. It's just like I kind of like hanging out with the guy. Don't tell him I said that, but you know, it came to a point where, you know, like the annoying things came to be a little adorable, and you know, you kind of see his that he means well. He's a heart of gold, and that's why, like, you know, the pet peeve about him being with Jack is annoying. But I think the most part of all, and this kind of goes back to like with Zoe, how, like I said, Zoe, I think Zoe and I were friends. Is I think these two, like Zoe and Marz, are great wrestlers, and that's what I want to surround myself with. Right? These people are great wrestlers. I want to be on their level. I want to beat them. You know, I want to strive with them, because with them, all that can ever happen with me is greatness, and that's what I want. These two are great wrestlers, and I will continue to be competitive with them, and I will continue to have a rivalry with some of them. And that's essentially how I guess I would say maybe friendships kind of go with me. It's all about getting better together and being competitive with one another until we reach our goals.
Oh yeah. And you know, you mentioned Zoe again. Mentioning Zoe, how did you let her get murdered that one time?
The time I was knocked out by a chair that she swung at me, or the time I got hit by I got thrown onto a ladder?
No, the time that
You have to be more specific.
The time that she got murdered in Spencer Love's kitchen, I believe.
She wasn't murdered. Okay. See, Marz definitely freaked out over nothing. We were at a murder mystery party. Okay. The point was someone was going to get murdered. Zoe was the one who got the card that says she was the person who was murdered. And then Marz took it way too seriously. And I tried telling him, you know, TJ's the murderer. He's the murderer in the game. He wouldn't listen to me. And then TJ wanted to try and murder me, and I told him I wasn't playing the game. And then I had to show him why I didn't play the game. So then, you know, at the end there, when Zoe and I went to leave because the party got boring, Marz was very confused, to say the least.
Well, bringing up TJ, were you at the Denny's incident?
I was not at the Denny's incident, actually. I've heard about the Denny's incident. I was not there, unfortunately.
Okay. Where is your stance on mayonnaise, if I may ask?
I mean, like, it's okay. I wouldn't say I order mayonnaise with anything. Like, unless we're talking like Chipotle mayo or something like that, then maybe I'd get some. But like, I'm not just like, please give me mayonnaise on bread. That's not my style.
Now, you know, another incredible thing you were a part of was Michael Richard Blaze's Infinity Gauntlet, where he wrestled 8 hours. What was that experience like, being in that match with Michael? Because obviously, you know, 8 hours is, nothing to sneeze at, and it was maybe for a reason bigger than what it was actually was, the charity that he was raising money for.
No, it's I think first of all, just like it was a great thing. Like he reached out about it, wanted to see if I was interested, and I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome. I'd love to take part in this. I think the 8 hours is a testament to how good Michael Richard Blaze is.
Oh yeah.
Because like I could not do 8 hours. I don't think many of the people who wrestled him can't do 8 hours because that's just crazy. And I want to say, I don't know if it was the next day or the day after that man decided to like deadlift 400 pounds or something like that. The man's crazy. Man's wild. But it was an honor to be a part of. Michael did end up getting more wins on me than maybe I would have wanted, but that's just how good he is. And just to be a part of it, it was an honor. That day went by so fast, though. I'll tell you that right now. Like we were there for a long time, and it just felt like it blinked by so fast. And there's a lot of moments you're like, oh man, like he's in rough shape, but he'd have his quick little bathroom break and get right back in there, and it was just like nothing. And so like at the very end, when it was just him and his brother in the ring, Stephen Crow wrestling, and we surrounded the ring right where by the end there, because it's just like it was so exciting, and like because I think it was like the last hour when it really sunk in with all of us. I'm like, this man's been wrestling for 7 hours straight. He's 1 hour away from.
Oh yeah. It is truly amazing what he was able to do. Can you hear me?
Just to summarize, like, really is when we were like, oh wow, this is really happening. Our friend and our mentor is doing this crazy thing, and like cannot say enough nice words about that man. It was a great experience, and I'm just very happy to be a part of it.
Hell yeah. Now, going to, one of the greatest wrestlers, in the territory, can you tell us about your rivalry with Mitsubishi?
Mitsubishi? Oh man. Mitsubishi just all started off with this commercial that just happened to play during the brunch gimmick, where they were just like the timing could not have been more impeccable. Where they're literally like, and his opponent, and then the Mitsubishi ad plays, and at that point, I was like, well, I got to fight a Mitsubishi now. And I remember talking to Marz about it. I'm like, I need to find a Mitsubishi. So like, I'll pull back the curtain a little bit for this story because I think this story is super funny. I was calling around because I'm like, someone's got to have like a beat up Mitsubishi I can fight, something I could just kind of rough up a little bit, break a headlight or something. And I call this place, which will remain nameless because I might get trouble if I name them. And I was like, hi, I was just wondering if you guys have like, broken down Mitsubishi that they're unlocked. And they're like, well, yeah, of course we do. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm looking to do this thing. And they're like, well, we can't really permit you to do that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, thank you for your time. And then they were like, but like at the same time, like, you pay to get in. I don't know what you're doing once you're in. And I'm like, cool, thank you, bye. So I'm pretty sure I called my wife immediately. And I'm like, all right, well, this is the plan. And so the three of us, my wife, Marz, and I, walk to this place, pay the fee to go in, find a Mitsubishi, wait for there's no one around, film the promo, and then literally, like, it cuts so quickly because we literally heard someone say something, we booked it out of there. We then proceeded to travel to Edmonton that same day and do a wrestling camp. So it was a very exciting day. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think the overall message is fuck Mitsubishi. Unless you guys want to sponsor me, then of course I'm a big Mitsubishi fan.
Well, it's incredible how, like, you really put the boots to that car, and it seemed like it was still in one piece afterwards.
I won't lie. I definitely misjudged the building integrity of a Mitsubishi car. Because in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna break a bumper off. I'm gonna push a door in, like break glass or something. And when I gave her that first kick, I'm like, oh damn, like I actually got to put some stank on these hits here. So I'm like actually like laying into it a bit there, and the door one caught me by surprise because I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be able to push that door open, and then that door pushes me back. I'm like, oh no, we're not doing that. So then I had to ram that door. We found, I think it was just another door on the side. I started throwing at it, kicking the bumper again. I was like, damn, this thing's actually built pretty good. So I guess that right there is a spokesperson video for Mitsubishi. They build their cars pretty tough.
That being said, will we see Reid Matthews versus Mitsubishi Part 2?
Brother, like if Mitsubishi puts the money in, of course. Or if the time ever needs to come up that I got to go fight another Mitsubishi again, I will not hesitate. I'll be more prepared next time, though. It'll be a hardcore match, not just a regular singles.
Hell yeah.
I could have a little help there.
Well, that brings us to our next segment, and that is Reid Matthews' Bizarre Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Oh man, I would say I have a really crazy road story, but I want to say first I have done the drive from Winnipeg back to Calgary in one go, no changing seats, no having a nap or anything. After one time when we went to Manitoba, which was funny because like everyone else would fall asleep, and just every stop I'm like grabbing an energy drink or grabbing some food, and we just trucked the whole way. 15 hours, the longest I've ever driven. So that was a crazy time. But like bizarre adventure, the weirdest event I'll do. And I'm gonna try and like not name any names, because I don't know if we'll get in trouble for that or not. We did a biker birthday party, and now we didn't know it was a biker birthday party to start. So I will say Marz and I were both on this show. We were both asked, and we were like, yeah, sure, why not? Like we were in this point where we're just like, let's try and get some bookings and get some reps in. So we were driving some other people up with us, and they mentioned like, oh, this is like some dude's birthday party. And to which I was like, damn, like I need better friends. But it was like a MMA fight, wrestling, a casino type thing going on. I'm like, damn, these are some good friends. And so we're driving into this town pretty much out in the middle of nowhere. And we go to the address we were given, and we can't find it. We can't find the address. And I'm like, that's a little weird. We see one of the other wrestlers. He's like, oh, let's try going back that way. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I followed him. Couldn't find the place. So we waited for the guy who asked us to do the show to show up. So they show up. And in that meantime, we learned that it was a biker party because the one wrestler knew the guy. And so now we're getting nervous. I'm like, oh man, this is a biker party. Like, is this like a biker party? And they're like, oh, like this like very serious biker gang. I'm like, oh no, this is not good. I'm like texting my wife. I'm like, if I don't make it out. So we go to the place. They were very hot. They had a really good hospitality for us. They fed us and everything, which is super nice of them. But yeah, we did this thing at his biker birthday party, and like the place we went to was just like some person's house. In their backyard there was a ring. They had a gate so that we like park off to the side, and they closed the gate. And the first thing we were told was, do not touch a bike. And I was like, I am staying away from all of the bikes. I ain't going near them. I'm not looking at them. I'm not even thinking about them. So we had our match. It was fun. Like I said, they gave us food. Like we were just like, I won't lie, like we were like, there was a point we were paranoid, like because we're just like, we're in the middle of town, middle of nowhere town. We are in this biker gang compound full of bikers. Like there's got to be 20 plus bikers here, and we just want to go home at this point. Like we waited so long. I don't think we wrestled till like they wanted to wait. So we got there. We're like, oh, we're gonna wrestle at like 3:00. We didn't wrestle till like 7. We were there late. And then we wrestled. They had the MMA fight and whatnot. And they fed us. And we were I won't lie, we were nervous about the food too. I remember We go in and they're like, go get some food just out of respect. You don't have to eat it, but like go and get it. So we go and we get some. It was like a turkey dinner, so we just like go out to turkey dinner. And me and this one guy are looking at each other. We're like, I don't know, like if we should really eat this food. Like, we're just kind of nervous. Like we really don't know these guys, biker gang. We don't know what's going on here. And we look over at Marz. Marz has half eaten his plate already. And we were like, well, you're the guinea pig, brother. So, like, sure enough, he was fine. So then after the match, we ate our food, got in the car. Or before we got in the car, they were, like, having a little after party. And so, like, we just wanted to, like, be respectful, say bye. And once again, Marz looks at these cupcakes. And he's like, oh, man, I want to have a cupcake. And one of the other wrestlers is like, no, you don't. Because those cupcakes have some stuff in them. And he's like, oh, damn. And then we go to learn that apparently it was like a roulette thing, where it's like some cupcakes were spiked with 20 grams. Some were spiked with 200 grams.
Oh, my God.
So, like, it was a good thing we did not grab any cupcakes. So then, we popped in the car and we head home. We got out of that town so fast. I was speeding, brother. I don't care if that gets me a ticket or whatever. We got out of there. It was so. But that is hands down the craziest driving story I have.
It kind of seems like you had your own version of Hog Wild, though.
Oh, essentially. Except it was not as family friendly.
And you were like, when Marz ate the food, like, how you feeling, Marz? Are you okay? Are you alive?
I just kind of watched him. I'm like, I'm not gonna ask him any questions. I'm just gonna watch him. He was acting fine, so everything was good. The food was good too. So.
All right, that is a fantastic story, but to say the least.
Yeah.
All right, now can you tell us about your love of anime?
Oh, brother, I love anime. I grew up, watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z. And then as I got older, I started watching some more anime like Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and One Piece. Started getting into, getting more into the mangas and stuff like that too. I don't know, man. Like I fell in love with Dragon Ball Z, and it really has a really soft spot in my heart. I remember when the show ended, I cried my eyes out. I was just like, oh, my favorite show is over. No, what am I going to watch now? Even though it was on too late for me. It was actually past my bedtime, so I didn't get to watch it all the time. But I was so sad when it was over. Actually, funny enough, the other day, I was telling my wife this too. There was a video on YouTube just like explaining the last season and the last season, and just like rewatching this synopsis of the last season and them talking about the ending again. I was tearing up, and I was telling her this. I'm like, I don't know why I'm tearing up. I know the show ended. Like, it's not a surprise. But I don't know. I think it's just like it's just super cool to see what people come up with, and I think like the anime art style and how they adapt and whatnot, just like being able to capture these larger than life people and these larger than life like these auras and these personas and stuff like that, and how they portray them is it just grasps me, man. It's got a stranglehold on me. I'm already thinking about like rewatching one of the ones I watched already, because I'm like, oh man, it was so good, I gotta watch it again. And like constantly, like even like when it comes to like who I am as the thickness, I'm like basing it off a mix of anime characters, because that's just like my bread and butter.
Hell yeah. What are you thinking about rewatching?
Code Geass, La Lucha Rebellion.
I keep hearing about Code Geass, and I haven't seen it, but everything people kind of go back and forward with it. Either they kind of love it or they kind of hate it.
I can see the hate. It's a very political show. Like if you don't want to be watching the politics stuff, don't bother. But like it's very much like a Death Note meets Attack on Titan.
Interesting.
It's very much one guy wants to overthrow the government because he believed the government wronged him, and it goes through like his thought process and the people he's with and how he essentially like manipulates his loved ones to protect them, but at the same time to get where he wants to go. And it's just super fascinating and super good, and it's super well detailed, but at the same time it doesn't feel like it drags its feet a whole lot. There's some like weird things in it. Don't get me wrong, anime has that.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and deny that. They have some weird scenes. I'm just like, that was super unnecessary. You did not need to add that. But no, I think it's very good. I think, like I said, if you really like the shows that really get your brain thinking and really challenge kind of like the way you see things and the way you kind of think, definitely one of those shows to definitely watch.
It's definitely on the list at this point. But you mentioned such a love of Dragon Ball. What is your favorite saga?
My favorite saga actually is the actually that's a good question, because my favorite villain is Boo. Specifically Kid Boo, because just for some reason, like, and they've said it before, like, he's not the strongest villain, but he was just such the craziest, and just something about him was so cool. Yeah, he literally was a rabid animal, and they had a hard time containing him. My favorite character is Broly, who like does not exist in canon other than in Dragon Ball Super. I would say my favorite probably would have to be the Fusion Saga, just because that's when we really got to see a lot of the other characters shine, like Gohan, and then you could see Gotenks and Vegito and stuff like that. That'd probably be my favorite.
My favorite part of that saga was when Boo turned Vegito into a piece of chocolate, and he was like, "I'm not just any type of chocolate. I'm not any piece of candy. I'm chocolate. I'm the strongest candy."
Yeah. It's just so good. Like, especially at that point when they're like, they had the Saiyans for show up, and they were these superior race, and then you have Frieza show up, who's just like this tyrant, and then you have Cell, who's claiming to be this perfect being, and the androids, who just wanted revenge for their creator, and then you got this big pink ball who just wants to eat. And is just the strongest person in the universe. Is the funniest thing to me.
And he achieved his dream. He turned everybody into chocolate. He pretty much ate
did.
everybody.
Exactly, and the man was still hungry, and I can sympathize with that.
And honestly, it is a little bit more on the topical side now, considering the creator, just passed away. And honestly, that really destroyed me, if I'm being honest. I was devastated.
It was right. I remember talking to my wife about this, because I feel like at first it didn't really hit me, and until I actually sat there and I thought about it and what it meant to me, and that's when I started crying. I'm like, damn, like, I didn't realize like how much this really held on to me, even more as an adult than it was as a kid. Because like, I feel like a lot of especially like growing up on those shows, like, they really define you, because they touch so hard on what those characters mean, right? It's not just like, this might be a terrible example, but just like SpongeBob, right? He's just a guy who cooks food, and he's a goofball, a lovable goofball, right? These were characters who faced such hard turmoil, and through determination and sheer will and, confidence, they surpassed everything. They surpassed all the odds. Nothing could stop them. And that just, I feel like as a kid, really drove me to be like, I can do it. If I train hard enough, I can do it. And so that stuff really stuck with me. So like with his passing, it's like, wow, like this is essentially like a part of your childhood passing away. They're still continuing. Like, they're still continuing Dragon Ball Super. They're just going on hiatus right now, but like, it's so hard to like watch a part of your childhood pass and not think like, damn, like that like made me who I am today, and that'll always be something with me.
No, and you're absolutely right. And it is kind of, it's still a little bit, shocking, because like, if Dragon Ball was completely done, you could say, okay, well, the work is already done. He completed Dragon Ball, but though he was still working on other projects, and it just makes you think, what did he have in store?
Yeah, it's kind of similar to like one of my favorite mangas is Berserk, and that mangaka passed away before his work of art could be finished. So then, like, you're always like, thankfully, like, a very close friend of his picked up the Berserk manga and is continuing it to this day. Just like Akira Toriyama's students is continuing Dragon Ball Super, but like, there'll always be like that. What would they have done with the story? We'll never know the true meaning. It's kind of like if Oda passed away. Like, that's another one. That's my favorite show / favorite manga right now too, is One Piece. Like, if Oda passed away, it's like, what is the One Piece? No one will ever know what it is. it'll be the biggest mystery in manga and anime.
And I completely understand because I'm still crossing my fingers. Hunter x Hunter completes its run, which seems
I want it. I want it so bad too. when they started releasing chapters again, I was so excited. Because I know the mangaka's wife, the mangaka for Sailor Moon, is like learning to draw in his art style so she can finish it for him.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know how well that's been going, but that was just a rumor I heard a while back. And then when I heard that he was healthy enough to start doing chapters again, I was super excited. And then now they're doing like an anime season, like a version of just an anime only season. But like I want to finish so bad too because that's such a good one as well.
I'm like that Avengers meme of Hawkeye. Don't give me hope.
Yeah. No, actually, fun fact: one of the characters from Hunter x Hunter is based off of who I try and be as a wrestler.
Ooh, interesting.
Yep. One, it's a character from Hunter x Hunter, and it's a character from Vinland Saga.
Okay. I'm trying.
Two very different ones.
Well, you mentioned One Piece. There are an incredible amount of episodes of that. What's your favorite arc of One Piece?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would have to say Marineford, mainly because like at the time, I watched One Piece up to I want to say it was before Marineford, and then I stopped for a bit just because like life, and then I saw all these videos about all these like people made videos about like highlights and music videos of like anime music videos of Marineford, and it looks so good. And I remember watching it and the feels and everything. And I'm just like, this is so hype. But I it's hard to say that's like my all-time favorite because there's like very good arcs and very cool, very good moments that make an arc better. You have like Zoro's moment. I won't do any spoilers, but like Zoro's moment at Thriller Bark. You have Sanji's during Skypiea and through what's it called? I'm forgetting the arc name. One of the more recent
Water
ones.
7.
No, not Water 7.
Island?
Yes, Whole Cake Island. Thank you. You have Robbins and Water and NS Lobby. You have Chopper just recently in the most recent arc on Onigashima. Like there's just so many moments. I'm just like so hyped, so excited. So it's very hard to I'd say to pinpoint, but I would say that one just because that's what really got me back into it, and really like I caught up at that point, and then I was reading weekly, and I've been reading weekly ever since.
Now, keep in mind, I'm only up to 650 episodes. I'm in the Dressrosa arc. So 100% favorite arc is Water 7, without a doubt.
And totally understandable. A lot of people when they watch it's either it's Water 7, Ennis Lobby, Baratier, and Fishman Island are usually the top 4 favorites.
Well, I consider Water 7 and Ennis Lobby 1 because it was the continuation of each other one.
Very true. Very true. I can agree with that.
So I kind of go from when do they have the bonfire party? When the bonfire party is done, that begins the new arc.
See, it's very hard because they with a lot of these later arcs are very good at like slipping you in right to the next one. I always just go by personally. I just go by when they beat the big antagonist of the arc. When they beat the big antagonist, arc's over.
Yeah, but usually there's like a little bit of aftermath stuff, and then they have the party where they eat and they dance and they celebrate.
Yep, those are usually considered like the middle arcs. Like I'm trying to remember what one of them's called. Like the one between Dressrosa and Whole Cake. There's one. The one between Whole Cake and What's the next arc after that one called?
Wada?
Yes, Wano arc, right? And then there's one, of course, after Wano, like after the Onigashima, going into Egghead. Like there's a small arc. They're like, they're not even like all. They're like a one chapter, not even like 1 to 3 chapters, right?
Just a
and they're just little
transition period.
things, yeah. And they kind of just show you what happens in the whole world while you're following the main cast of characters. So like I usually just like, okay, like you kind of know when it's talking about them, and usually that happens during like their party.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now you can correct me if I'm wrong or not, but when you had your summer vacation with Marz the specialist, it kind of got interrupted by a family of skunks.
Oh yeah, so randomly out back on my house, um, like there's been like a hole kind of under my front concrete stairs, and then randomly like we went out back to go do something, and I just see this family of skunks, and I'm like, oh man, that's not good, because I had a shed. I have a shed in the backyard, and and it's just kind of sitting on some wood. So it's like, I hope they're not living under there. Thankfully, I was able to get rid of them without harming anyone or any animal. They have not returned. I have filled up all the holes. But, oh man, that was definitely like, they were very cute. Don't get me wrong, little baby skunks, adorable. Did not want them around my house.
I completely understand that. Right. Now you could correct me if I'm wrong, but your favorite movie is actually a Bollywood movie?
How? Okay, when did I ever mention this? This is the craziest thing. Oh my god, yes. My favorite movie is called Rocky Rani Ki Prem Kahani. It is a Bollywood movie. Kind of like a classic Bollywood movie telling in more modern times. But like they hit all their notes very great. The music's great in it. The actors are fantastic. And just like the storyline that they tell, and the real world comparisons, and how, you know, they in the movie break down how like things don't have to be this way, and they can be this way, and we don't have to live in these like norms, so to speak, is beautiful. Had me tearing up. I love the movie. It is my favorite movie. It's so crazy, you know that. I feel like I'm trying to remember now if I mentioned this in a podcast or whatnot. I cannot remember. Oh man, that's crazy. This and the Uno one, you got me guessing. How do you remember? How do you know those?
Hey, I do my research.
You were very good at your research, and Marz gave me the heads up. Like, he does his research. I'm like, oh man, I'm excited. What is this man gonna bring up? Uno and my favorite movie. Oh man.
Now, obviously, anime is Japanese, an export, and it's very easily. Mostly everybody gets into anime at childhood with Dragon Ball Z. How did you kind of discover Bollywood movies?
So my wife is Mauritian, and in Mauritius, it's there's a lot of Indian heritage and stuff like that transferred over. They're not they're not Indian because of their own country, and there were big history on. Kind of keep a short summary of it. It was a little island that was owned by the English, the French, and the Spanish, and they would bring over Indians at the time. And so like it's just kind of a mishmash of cultures there. And so when I first started seeing her, she introduced me to Bollywood movies. At the time, like I think like the only Bollywood movie I ever watched was like Slumdog Millionaire. And she has opened me up to a wonderful world of Bollywood movies. I love Bollywood movies. They're so much fun. They're so exciting. They really take things and do it their own way, and it's so beautiful. Like I remember we watched this one movie, and I'm like, how is this movie like 8 different genres? How am I on the edge of my seat in this movie? This is so crazy to me. So I owe all that to her. She introduced me to all of that, and to this day, like we watch them together, and we'll go see new ones and stuff like that. And Bollywood music I love as well. Our wedding song was a Bollywood song that she chose that will always be very special for us. So that's how that happened.
Okay. And I think the only Bollywood-esque movie I could say I watched was that one where he finds his mother through Google Maps.
Oh, I don't think I know that one.
Heart of a Lion or Lionheart or something like that.
Okay, I'll have to keep a lookout for that one.
Sia made the song, the theme song for it.
Okay, I have to look that up. I'm not entirely sure of that one.
Yeah, I'm kind of blanking on the name myself, but yeah. Alright, that being said, I think that's a great, segue into the colossal question. Let's say they're making a movie about you.
Ah.
What every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Oh man. Oh, that's hard. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, I have to pull up my Spotify because I need to make sure I'm getting all the music I want.
Definitely.
The first 3 songs. Okay. Ooh, that's a good one. Damn, I was not expecting that one. Because I know Marz was, because I listened to the one you did with Marz because he was telling me about the movie characters one. So that's the one I was expecting. I would not expect this one. A song called the Divani Bastani, which is the song that was played at my wife walked down to for our wedding.
Okay.
Definitely one in there because it's one of my favorite Bollywood songs. It just means a lot, so that's going to be one. Damn. I'm quickly looking through my Spotify playlist right now. Well, I'm like, what other songs is there going to be? I think 2. Oh man, it's so hard to do 2. Only 2 more songs.
Would you like to come back to the question? Give you some more time to think.
I'm almost through my whole thing here. So the other one's gonna be my new entrance music. It's called Anything by Fab VL. I just don't know if that's how you pronounce his name or not. I know it's FABVL.
Okay.
Anything is my new entrance music. It came out. I love it. I've thought it was a good grasp for who I wanted to be as a wrestler, and so that one is definitely in there because I love that song. It's usually on repeat, especially when I'm at the gym. Last one. Got 2 serious songs. I gotta have like a fun song. What's a good fun song that I have here? I know there's a Bollywood one for this. It really is. Her and I will put Bollywood music on, and we'll just dance. It's so much fun. Oh, I just thought of another good one though for a song. Crap. I think let's go with the last song. Is going to be. I know I'm gonna choose one, and then after we hang up, I'm gonna like. I should have chose a different one. So I'm making sure. I'm making sure. I know there was a song her and she'll play, and I just jam out so hard to it, and I know I'm gonna forget it. Oh, that's a good song too. Crap.
You could pick more than one. It's okay.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
limit it
Cool.
to
There's
3.
another song. There's another song called "Maina Gar Cahoon," which is another beautiful love song that I want to put in there.
Okay.
But we'll make the last one so I don't keep looking too long. Is probably gonna be it's a song called "Senorita." It's from another Bollywood movie. It's just a nice, fun song, super upbeat, and I wanted to have at least one upbeat song.
Fair enough. Now, now that you have 4 songs, do you lock it in?
Yeah, I lock it in. I don't want to think too much about it.
Alright, now that we got the soundtrack down, then we go, everybody knows you get the soundtrack down first. Then you write the script, and then you go to casting. Who plays Reid? And you can't say yourself because you are legally obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Okay, who would play me? Damn, that's a good one. Because I know Marz said Jack Black, which I do think is funny. I don't know if I'd cast Jack Black as myself, mainly because I cast Jack Black as Marz.
Well, you're getting ahead of the questions now.
I know. Who would play me? Bearded, long-haired man, thick, yells a lot. You know what? I'm gonna do this mainly for two reasons. One, because I like the actor. Two, because my wife also likes the actor. It's gonna be the one who picked Captain America.
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans, thank you. Chris Evans.
Alright. Now that we have you casted, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people in your movie that is significant to you and your story, and who would play them?
Ooh. See, man, it'd be so hard to choose who my wife would be. Who'd you play as my wife? Because she's my number one support throughout my whole 9 years of wrestling. She's literally been there from almost day one, like probably just like a couple months off. Marz is Jack Black. I'm just gonna say that. I already said it earlier. We're sticking to it. My lovable goofball. Who would play my wife? Let's go. Trying to think now. Who would I want to play my wife? Who would I think would do a good job of playing her? I'm quickly looking up an actress's name.
Take your time.
Her name is Alia Bhatt. She is the main actress in Rocky Rani Ki Prem Kahani.
Okay. And you have
mainly just because I feel like she'll do a good job at portraying who my wife is as a person.
Okay.
Because no one can be my wife. She's one in a million. One in whatever the population of the earth is. There's one out of that.
No,
and I think that's it. Like those are. I guess I should do some for Michael Richard Blaze. Michael Richard Blaze has done a lot for my wrestling. Let's say Michael Richard Blaze. Robert Downey Jr.
I like that.
Yeah.
I don't think Robert Downey Jr. is going to have an 8-hour match.
He will now, brother.
Alright. It is sounding like an incredible movie, and you could pre-order the tickets now.
Yeah, let's go.
Alright. Now from movies to video games. Can you tell us about Dick Gaming?
Oh, okay. So during COVID, but kind of before COVID, I always wanted to try streaming. And originally I started streaming under a different name because I was kind of nervous about putting the worlds together. And then I decided that's a very stupid reason and decided to meld them together. And so I renamed myself to Thick Gaming. I love video games. I played video games pretty much my whole life. I had the Nintendo 64 and the Game Boy Color, as some of my earliest game machines. And it's like nowadays I'm kind of playing like your shooters, your Fortnites, your Warzones, your Apex Legends and stuff like that, Valorant. But like I love the Borderlands series. I love Pokemon. I'm a huge Pokemon nerd. That's what Marz and I really bonded on. Same with Spencer Love of Love Wrestling. We're all big Pokemon nerds.
Oh yeah.
God, I really kind of I like playing a little bit of everything. Because like I love Pokemon so much, I always come back and play Pokemon. I loved the Borderlands series. I haven't played the first one, but I played all the other ones. Loved them all.
Really?
I loved the Batman. Yeah, I didn't. The first one came out. I didn't have. I don't think I had the console for it at the time. So like my first Borderlands experience was Borderlands 2, and then I got the prequel, and then I have the Telltale game, and then I also have 3.
Okay.
So I've yet to play the first one. But then like I also love the Batman games, like the Arkham games.
Oh yeah.
Those ones dear place in my heart. Call of Duty's Halo. Halo's a place in my heart too, because I was like my first Xbox game was Halo 3.
Oh yeah.
Then you got like the Mario series, like the Super Marios and the Mario Karts and the Mario sports games and stuff like that. So I'd say it's hard to pick what my favorite one is, but I love a little bit of everything. And you know what? I wanted to try streaming, and I really love streaming. I really do. I wish I had more time for it between like, my shoot job and training and wrestling and whatnot. But I'm slowly making the time for it, and I love it. It's so much fun.
Now, you mentioned, Borderlands being your favorite. Who do you play as in, let's say, Borderlands 2?
Borderlands 2, I was the Gunzerker.
Hell yeah, I was the Gunzerker as well.
I don't remember what his name is, but yeah, I
Salvador.
love the Gunzerker. Salvador, yeah, being able to dual wield. Oh my god, that was the coolest thing. That was so cool. I had no clue about class setups or anything either when I first played. So when I get stuck on a boss and I look up and people are like, "Yeah, you do this," I'm like, "Wait, this is a thing?" And then I go around and change up my trees, and I'd be able to go a lot farther. It was so much fun.
My favorite, yeah, obviously, dual, shooting is fantastic, but just that your health just spikes back up to 100.
Oh yeah,
It really does.
by flipping them off. That was the funniest thing when I got that. You just flip off the opponent and you immediately get full health. Was my favorite thing.
Oh yeah. And in part 3.
Part 3, I played Flak. I loved the idea of having pets and
Okay.
using my pets to kill people. Actually, also fun fact: my newest piece of merch is actually Borderlands theme inspired.
Oh,
The
interesting.
one that has my face on it. Yep.
I played as Mouse in part 3.
Oh yeah, that she was gonna be my second. Like being in a giant mech, that'd be pretty hype.
And because of that reason, she is one of my all-time favorite video game characters, because you jump in that mech and like any boss you're going up against, you just point, shoot, and their life bar just diminishes completely.
Yep, just erases.
Yes, it's one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah, so cool.
All right. Now you are a Canadian from Canada, so I do have 2 Canadian exclusive questions for you.
All right, hey, let me hear them.
The first one being, is Canada's greatest national treasure Ryan Reynolds?
No. I'm trying to think. I think hockey technically would be. I mean, I even think not even hockey. We're just really good at hockey. What would be our greatest national treasure? There's another actor who's just like randomly Canadian, and I can't remember what his name was. God, I can't remember now. I'm very bad with actors and actresses' names. I'm so. No, not Gosling. No, it was none of the Ryans. It was some other one. I can't remember. I don't think Ryan Reynolds is our biggest export.
Fair enough.
Like I can't think of what the one it was. So.
And the second one being poutine. Where is the best place to get it?
So I have a controversial opinion about this.
Okay.
Mainly because I'm not a fan of cheese curds. I don't like big chunks of cheese. I like growing up. We had the place that we got poutine growing up. It was just shredded cheese, so it was great. It was just this big sloppy mess. I loved every minute of it. right now, there's two good poutines, especially in Alberta. One is from Burger King. They recently got a poutine. It's called the Angry Poutine. For some reason, very good. Has no right to be. It's Burger King. Like it has the right to be crap, but it's very good. And the other one is a place called Meltwich. Meltwich has very good poutines as well.
All right. Well, that brings us to the most controversial of subjects. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
I'm fine with it. I've grown to before I was like, ah man, pineapple on pizza, no way. And then I like actually tried it. The little bit of sweetness is nice with the pizza, especially because like I'll get like chicken and mushrooms and pineapple and green peppers. So a little bit of that sweetness in with all that savory stuff, pretty nice.
Okay, so you are pro pineapple.
I'm pro. Put whatever you want on pizza, as long as you enjoy it.
What are your thoughts on peas on pizza?
I don't know how they stay on. Honestly, I'd probably try it. I like peas, like especially if they're like sweet peas. Oh man, that's right up my alley.
Okay, now let's go to the most bizarrest one we've heard. Kangaroo on pizza.
Oh, kangaroo meat?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if I don't. No, I probably wouldn't eat kangaroo meat, just like for personal reasons. But like that's super fine. I used to work at a meat place, like a place that would distribute meat. It's like I've seen bizarre meats: kangaroo, ostrich, gator. Like if it's meat, it can go on pizza.
So you're saying you were a butcher before the butcher from AEW?
No, I was not a butcher. I worked in the freezer, so I was a freezer man.
Fair enough.
I was in one of the least desirable jobs, but it was a very nice job.
What's your spirit Pokemon?
Snorlax.
Hell yeah.
We recently did one on not recently, we did it on the Short Kings podcast, choosing our favorite Pokemon. That was so difficult because like for the longest time, Mega Charizard X was my boy. I love Mega Charizard X so much, but like I've really grown towards Snorlax. I used him on a playthrough of Ultra Moon. Love him. He's my boy, and so I even have like a little Munchlax stuffy.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I also have a little sleeping Snorlax as well. He's my favorite. So he's my boy. Man sleeps, man eats, man hits like a truck. That's the thickness, baby.
My all-time favorite is going to be Mewtwo. Always and forever.
That is fair.
Yeah. Okay.
If you had to choose a non-Gen 1 Pokemon, who would it be?
Non-Gen 1. Ooh.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people, when you ask their favorite Pokemon, it's Gen 1 because that's like the OG.
Right.
But I'm curious what about people outside of it.
Well, first and foremost, keep in mind I haven't played the games. I only watched the anime.
Oh, that's fine.
So
that means you have a very interesting opinion, because I think the anime does such a good job at showing you why Pokemon are crazy as they are, because they make the worst Pokemon, like game-wise, so cool.
Interesting. Well, if it's not, now I'm not even sure if this isn't Gen 1, but specifically Ash's Totodile. He was awesome.
That is Gen 2. Funnily enough, Totodile is Marz's specialist's favorite Pokemon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
If I had to pick another one, Darkrai. He is the absolute
Also a good one.
chips.
Super cool. That is my favorite Gen as well, Gen 4.
Yeah. And Rise of Darkrai, there as one of the best movies.
So cool.
Oh yeah. It was so different from the other movies because a couple of them were kind of just like copy and paste, honestly. So yeah, Darkrai is definitely one of my favorite movies as well.
Yeah, it changed it up. It really kind of made you see a different side of Pokemon, which is really cool. Because I think a lot of the time they just show you the one side, so it's nice that we get to dive deep in every now and then.
Hell yeah. Alright, now we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
I'm gonna hit you with something really different. I don't know who Tracy Smothers is.
Ooh, but
Yeah.
he's definitely worth a Google after this interview. But I'll spell it out for you. T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail. 'Cause a dog can't spell.
That's good. I like that actually.
Yes, we love the late great Tracy Smothers, and we are trying to keep the memory alive on the show.
Or I'll make sure to Google him after.
Alright. Weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully. Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical Rock.
You know, it's funny. I've been seeing a lot of those wrestling the Invisible Man or wrestling the like the doll matches entirely. I think it'd be fun. I think it's almost like a little test to see what exactly you can do, giving all the power to yourself and literally an inanimate object.
Well, just for context, there's a wrestler named Psycho Mike that indeed wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
15 minutes. That's funny.
15 minutes
Oh
was
man,
recorded, but it was a
Oh,
match
15
that
was-
lasted for 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Oh my
Yes.
god.
Mhm.
That's kind of like that whole thing where it's just like you could live forever, but like, there's a snail that'll always chase you, and the snail touches you, you die. That's what that feels like. You could wrestle, you could be the greatest wrestler ever, but if that rock gets to you, you're done.
Alright. On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
WWE champion.
Hell yeah. You beating Roman or Cody?
Well, technically, Roman's lost right now, so Cody, I guess, if we're talking about current, because who knows who's going to be the champion then.
Fair enough. And what is a match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what the thickness is all about?
Ooh, oh, that's a good one. I would say this once they release it, this recent match with Alan Angels is a very good one. I put a lot, like my heart and my soul into that one. We had a lot of fun. There is, I would say there's two. There is, and funny enough, they're both with Marz the Specialist. One is, of course, the contract on a pole match, which was the taxes on a pole match that we did for LPW CWS. I believe it was 3. And then actually, Marz the Specialist and I are 3 Stages of Hell match for RCW. Marz and I work super well in the ring. We have great chemistry together. Honestly, it's crazy. Like just the fact of everything that's happened for us to kind of meet each other and be friends and whatnot, and the fact that we work so well together. I think those matches really show you who I am as of right now. I think going forward, like I'm always going to have new matches because I want to constantly evolve and constantly get better. But I think if you want to get 3 good points, those are the 3 good ones.
And we can find those on YouTube?
I believe you can. The Alan Angels one is not released yet, to my knowledge. The other 2, I believe, are on YouTube. I don't know if they're, because I know the CWS ones are usually on the Patreon for LPW.
Okay.
But I believe the RCW one is out there somewhere.
Okay. Well, if the one, the matches you're talking about are indeed on YouTube, I will find them and I will grab the link to them, and I will put them in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox. Probably when this comes out, the match with Alan Angels will be out as well. If it's not, I'll update the video with a link to that match as well.
Yeah, because I know they just posted Zoe and Speedball Mike Bailey, so I'm assuming they're going to start rolling them out this week and next week.
Hell yeah. And you could go into, like I said, you could go into the description, click it, watch the match. If you haven't seen it, want to see it, want to re-see it after this interview. And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Ooh, okay.
This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
All right. So I got the answers as fast as I can, I'm assuming?
Any speed you'd like.
All right. All right. I think I'm ready.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Greatest wrestler of all time, Shawn Michaels.
Worst wrestler.
Ooh. I'm gonna have to pass on that one because I don't know if I can actually think of one that I would like to say.
So you are choosing the default answer.
I'm choosing default answer, yeah.
You have chosen Eva Marie.
Eva Marie. Oh my god, I totally forgot about her. Oh man.
You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Funnily enough, when I first started about thinking about doing wrestling, I always wanted it to be Brock Lesnar, so that's what it's going to be.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Oh, I think that's a tie between Batista, Walk Alone, and Edge's Meddling Us.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
I think it's alive.
We would have also accepted taste great on toast.
Damn, you didn't think about that one. Damn.
Squash. Vegetable or fruit?
I don't even know. I don't think I've ever had squash. I'm gonna say it's a. Oh damn! Is it one of those things where it's like it's one or the other, but you wouldn't have it with that thing? You know what I mean? It's kind of like tomatoes. Tomatoes are a fruit, but you don't want them on a fruit salad.
Depends.
I feel
What
like
is
it's
your answer?
I think it's a fruit.
Are you locking that in?
Honestly, I have to because I actually don't know the answer.
It is indeed a fruit. You are correct.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
And it's the exact...
I knew it the whole time. I know my squashes.
You were on track. It's tomato logic. It has seeds, so it's classified as a fruit.
Yeah, but you don't want it on a fruit salad.
Correct. New Japan Pro Wrestler Taichi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
You know what? I think it depends on the gimmick. Because just saying, like if you saw me right now throwing a bunch of cheek out there, you'll probably be a little confused. But if I was doing like a sexy thick boy gimmick, maybe I want to show some cheek. You know what I'm saying?
I gotcha. So to each their own to the gimmick.
Yeah.
And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
I have not. I have had a conversation with a guy at a thrift store about One Piece. Definitely have not had a conversation about Darby Allin in a grocery store.
And that is the correct answer.
You know, there's gonna be one person or two people, I should say, who've had that conversation.
We have had people on the show that have had conversations. They are far and few, but they are out there in the wild. I will say that.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
That will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
No problem. Thank you for having me, brother.
Absolutely. And once again, where can we find all things the thickness on social media and your merchandise?
All right. We have the Thickness 7 on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find the thickness Reid Matthews on Pro Wrestling Tees for the merch. You got Thick Gaming 7 on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube for all my gaming stuff. And you have the Short Kings on YouTube and Spotify. And I think that's everything.
And you mentioned TikTok. I know you're not doing the Wednesday Addams dance, but you're twerking to Cardi B, no?
I have twerked to Cardi B. How do you know that one? Come on. I'm pretty sure. Oh, my God. Oh, how? That is the crazy. Oh, my God. Okay, yes, I have twerked to Cardi B. WAP is hilarious. I love that song. That is so crazy that you found that. Honestly, because I know I'm pretty sure I like cleaned up a bunch of like random videos on my TikTok too. And I guess that video is still out there somewhere. That is so funny. Oh my God.
All I'll
man.
say is the internet does not forget things.
You're damn right they don't. Oh my God.
Now, you don't have to type it into your Google machine. All of the links to all his social media will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox. Simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Buy a damn shirt.
Yeah, especially I'm going to be putting out all the new stuff on Pro Wrestling Teams too. You're going to want that new thickest fuck shirt. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Pale Wine Coffee. Join us next Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews. Follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on X, Dread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment, okay?
You got it.
For our special guest, Reid Matthews, Calico Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling Wit
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.